Oh, hey,
Who's got a smoke alarm going off?
it sounds like you. Well, anyway, hey, welcome to the show. You're hearing smoke alarms. I'm like, what? Can somebody please help Oscar? This is the Focus on You with Phil and Oscar. I guess our intro decided not to work today. So
Welcome.
it clicked us right back. It took us right in, Oscar.
Good.
Um, So, welcome to the show. Welcome to the show, guys. We got a great feature for you today. Yes, we have the infamous master connector, Steve Sparrow, in the house. Hello, somebody. And he's going to tell us a little bit about himself, his new book. Ouch. Love to read that. And also some of the other things that he does that will inspire you and maybe encourage you to make some changes. But Oscar, how has your week been?
Excellent. We did not get rain this week, so we did not flood out the neighborhood. So I'm very happy.
I started building my ark in the back, but I only got halfway through. So you know, uh, I guess I'll continue it the next time it rains as much as it does.
Yeah. The only thing I get 2 by 2 is mosquitoes in this yard.
But anyway, you know what? So we were going to have a couple messages before we bring Steve on. Just want to encourage everyone to watch the Bishop's Corner tonight. Where our subject is grace to grow, the grace to grow, and that's really just telling you to give yourself and give each other a break when it comes to growing pains, right? We all make mistakes. We all have things we have to overcome. And so give yourself some grace to grow. And so we're going to be talking all about that tonight. What do you think about that, Oscar?
I've taken that attitude not too long ago because I do a lot of work on the house and a lot of work in the yard, and I wanted everything to come out perfect, and it doesn't. And then I've come to the realization, like, you know what? I'm not perfect. I'm not a professional at doing this. This is as good as it's going to get, and I'm happy with it.
There you go. Absolutely. Absolutely. So that's going to be tonight, Thursdays. It's on Thursdays at 8 p.m. So catch it tonight and tell us what you think. Leave your comments, like, and share with your friends. Next thing we'd like to talk about is our Power Up Breakfast. It was Power Up Lunch. Now it's Power Up Breakfast. Yep.
Yeah,
That's what we do.
that's PUB. You could tell people, listen, 8 o'clock on Wednesdays, I'm going to the pub.
Well, we're planning to move it to Thursdays
Or
at
Thursday, I mean, yes.
8 a.m. So catch us then. We're going to be putting some information out starting probably next week or the week after. We're going to be on Thursdays at 8 a.m. So come on, network with a few people, get broadcasted on our platforms, and you might meet somebody that you like to work with. So and we're encouraging you to do that. Come to the pub, Power Breakfast at 8 a.m. on Thursdays as well. All right, that's it for our updates. Now we're going to go to our main feature, which is none other than introducing the master connector himself, Mr. Steve Sparrow.
Good.
Steve.
There he is.
What's going on, guys? I want to go to the pub. Let's go to the pub right now.
Let's do it. There's nothing better than a pub in the morning. So we are
Yeah.
listen, for you guys that don't know Steve, if you need a connection, this man has got it down to perfection. Mr. Steve Spiro, the master connector himself, is in our studio today. It is a pleasure to have you, Steve. I've known Steve for years. I've never seen him without a smile on his face. It might be going to the pub helps that out. So for the four people in the universe that don't know you yet, give us a little background of who Steve is and what makes him tick.
I appreciate that. And I heard the little rhyme going on there, connection, perfection. But hey, what's going on, friends? Steve Spear, the master connector, coming at you live and direct. Yeah, I mean, so I started my first company out of college in advertising, did that for a lot of years, transitioned into technology, consulting. Through all that journey, I was introduced to a very successful entrepreneur who became a mentor, challenged me, said, "Hey, you need to meet three strangers every day." Which, when you're from the New York area, that's crazy. It's like they're going to shoot you or kidnap you if you do that. But it got me out of my comfort zone and started building a network and got on LinkedIn. And today, 25,000 LinkedIn connections. I think I'm at 26 now, but who's counting? A bunch of numbers on my phone. I think I'm at like 19,000. So it's crazy. But yeah, do speaking now, an inspirational speaker. I've got a book. Maybe we'll speak a little bit about called the Tao of a Master Connector. You can see that right there. And then also we have a live broadcast also called the Master Connector Show. So yeah, I mean, I do quite a few things, consulting. I did my hands at a bunch of stuff, and it's a lot easier than trying to tell everybody all the crazy things you do. So, hey, what do you do? Just call me the Master Connector. And that seemed to be the way to go. So that's a little bit about me, shy and introverted. That's why if you look at the topic title of the book here, the subject, the subtext is the way an introvert became a master connector. So that's me. I was an introvert, still to a degree an introvert, but I've learned that there's danger in the comfort zone, and you gotta overcome that. So
Yeah, the comfort zone, I think, is the one thing that a lot of people don't realize is you might as well be in a pit. You're not going anywhere. You're comfortable in that hole, but you're
yeah,
not seeing anything around you. You're in that pit. That's the way I look at the comfort zone. It's like I need to get out of the pit. I got to eat. I got to do something. I got to get out of that comfort. So, hey, here we go. This is if you want the Tao of a master connector, though I like what you did with Way there and Tao.
I
Become a
appreciate it.
master connector on Amazon.
Yeah, Amazon Kindle. It's also on Barnes and Noble and soon to be on Audible. That's in production right now. So excited about that as well.
As
So
soon as you get
it's
it on Audible, let me know. I will download it because my ADHD HD, which is high definition ADHD, makes me read a paragraph 4 times before I find a squirrel to go chase. So
I get it. I get it. It is hard to sit still and read a book today. It is for sure.
So your background, you grew up in the Bronx as a shy introverted kid.
That's right.
Met your mentor, and now there are no limits.
Absolutely. Yeah.
What would you say to someone that says, "Well, that's him. He can do that. I can't." I'm fill in the blank.
Well, let's look at this, right? So I'm an introvert, and here I am as the master connector. So, I mean, that should just take away excuses right there, right? But here, one of the 4 pillars that I speak about when I keynote, when I speak about on the, on a show, the Master Connector Show, and also in the book, is having the grit to overcome obstacles, right? And I believe that my feeling is you could overcome anything. You just got to have enough grit and stick to it. And I believe also many of our challenges and our obstacles or the struggles we go through can become our biggest asset, right? So whatever you're going through right now, embrace it, because you'll have a story to tell, right? It's your story. Your mess becomes your message, right? Your test becomes your testimony. So you'll have a message that you can speak about with people. But yeah, anyone could come out. I believe in I have a heavenly Father, and I believe that we're all made from we're all born of royalty. So I believe you, if you're listening to this, have the seed of greatness within you, and you could do whatever you put your mind to, right? And by the way, I'm a big reader, a listener, I should say, because reading is I'm dyslexic, learning disabled. So reading, besides not having the time or attention when I sit, it's also just hard for me to absorb and digest. But one of the books I'm reading right now is What to Say When You Talk to Yourself by Shad Helmstadler. Great book. And you could reprogram. That's a big part of it. Whatever you're going through, you could reprogram, because this is an amazing computer that the great creator created for us, and we can program it, just like you can program a computer to do whatever you want it to do, within reason. Obviously, you could program your brain. And a big part of it is the speech, what you speak, what you hear, right? So a lot of that will determine what you think, because you can't think a thought and speak out loud that's an opposite to that thought. What you're speaking, you're gonna, it's impossible. Can't do those two things. So if you ever want to reprogram, just keep speaking what you want, not what you have. So my mentor said to me years back. He said, "What if everything you said came to fruition?" And like when people, they have a headache and like, "Oh man, my head is killing me." I don't know if you want that, right? Stuff like that. So you just gotta just be conscious, but you can reprogram. So that's what I say to somebody to answer your question. Long answer to a short question, Oscar. But yeah, you just have to reprogram, believe, stay steady, never quit. My feeling is if you don't quit, you win.
Yeah, that the reprogramming comes back. I watched and it's available now on YouTube. Bob Proctor put out, I think it was like in the '70s, a program that was quite expensive called "You Were Born Rich,"
Mm.
and it's available. And that's what he talks about. And he says that the Jesuits said, "Give me the boy until 7, I'll give you the man." So we are in theta basically for our first 7 years. That means we take in information, we don't filter it out. Whatever is said to us is said to us. You can't do that. You're going to get hurt. Don't talk to strangers. All that is the program that's in our head.
That's right.
And we never ever, we update our phones, we update our laptops. We never update the operating system in here.
That's right.
So if you don't find a way to upgrade that operating system, you're letting a 7-year-old run your life.
Yeah. I've also just like, and I know you do some security, cybersecurity type stuff, and one of the 1,000 things you do, Oscar. But in terms of computer stuff, right? Whatever is put on your computer, you could erase, but it's never ever permanently erased. It's still there. And the brain is the same way. So you can override to a degree, you can write over it, but it's still there. So you got to make sure you're just constantly pouring good in, because by default, the brain will go negative, and just keep putting the good stuff in.
Yeah, the biological reason for that is to keep us alive.
Yeah.
Anything that's new and we haven't done before goes back to the primitive brain. Is like, well, there's two paths. Every time we go down this path, we never see a tiger. Every time someone went down that path, they got eaten alive. So we're
Right.
going to keep going down this path because we know it's safe. And that one, the tiger may or may not be there, but that's not the safe path. So your brain is always trying to keep you alive and putting up blocks for you to take the path that is the path to success, because you've never done it before. So the more you study the brain and the way the mind, the way it works, and the stupid things that we put in our own head, and it's that there's no reason for it. If you can't see the cage you're in, there's no way to get out of it. So it's a matter of becoming educated. You're an adult now. You're not 7 years old. No one's going to kidnap you. Believe me, if they do, most of us, they'll put us back quickly. But it's a matter of over what Dr. Joe Dispenza says. Whatever you think of most is what gets wired. What neurons that fire together wire together, and you can't erase the past way of thinking, but you can get as many new neurons that become, instead of a footpath, a superhighway that you will not really consider the old way. But it's a challenge. It's a daily challenge.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's what I love, the power of self-development, because you can, just continue to put the right stuff in your brain. So
Now you've done all of these things, and your latest accomplishment is your book, The Tao of a Master Connector. What led you to write the book?
So full disclosure, it was actually, I had help with a ghostwriter and an editor. It was actually, a lot of the content is pulled from videos that I was doing for quite a while. So my new co-host, who's unofficially my new co-host, is Rob Genovese. You know Rob, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
And well, there you go. Thank you. So when I was earlier on in LinkedIn, I started to talk to Rob, and I was doing about maybe a post every day or a post every other day. I don't, something like that. And he said, you should think about video. So that got me in the path of video. I started doing a series I called at the time Fire to Friday Master Connector Tips. Every Friday I got a video out. So I had somebody who approached me and said, hey, you should write a book. I'm like, I have no bandwidth. I can't do it. And they basically put she said, hey, we'll get recordings, we'll listen to all the videos and we'll transcribe. And I'm like, okay, that's a big task, but a little false start with somebody that didn't work out. And then eventually got Val, who helped me put it together, and it's been amazing. But yeah, I mean, the reason for the book, to be honest with you, is the fact that, number one, my mission on this planet, which is to be the light, is to uplift, inspire, and encourage. That, I have a pretty lengthy personal mission statement, and in that is to really, be an inspiration to many people. And listen, there's ways to do it, right? I do inspirational speaking. I've got the LinkedIn live show, and the book is another opportunity to do that. And that's why I wanted to do the Audible, because not everybody reads books these days, right? So yeah, same here, right? So we got the book out, but interestingly enough, I know you commented on the word "the way," right? In case anyone doesn't understand, TAO, Tao, it's pronounced with almost like a D sound, but it's the way or the path of, right? And in my martial arts experience, we did more of it was a Japanese style of karate. It was Goju karate, and I have a 4th degree in that and a 1st degree in traditional Japanese jiu-jitsu. And there was I learned a lot about the Asian culture, and specifically the Japanese culture, and Do, or so karate Do is the way or path, right? So the Chinese, if you will, I know that's not a language, but Tao is almost very, very much like Do. And karate do is the way of the empty hand. Bushido, Bushi is warrior, Do, the way of the warrior, right? And if there's other arts like Aikido, the yielding way, and also, so Do is the path or way. So I said, all right, if I wrote the Do or the do of a master connector, I think people would be like, huh? But I know Bruce Lee wrote a book called The Tao of Jeet Kune Do. There's the Tao of Pu. Okay, let's go with Tao, right? But it is the way. It's not meant to be a how-to book. It's more of a kind of a mindset book on, what it took and what it's taken to get to become this introvert to the master connector. And I feel like it's a great message that anyone can learn from. And if you look at the top text here, it's inspiring you to kickstart your success journey, right? And then the back side of the book, which is inspiring you to, I got to go the right way. Inspired to get out of your comfort zone. We talked about that at the beginning of the book, right? At the beginning of the show. So yeah, it's really there to inspire people, and it's just another opportunity for me to bless people the way I've been blessed.
Cool. I got a great question that I've heard. If you were to meet your 7-year-old, 10-year-old Steve Spiro, what would you tell Steve?
I would say, what the heck are you doing? No, I mean, that's a great question. I've been asked that before. It's a great question. And that is, really 3 or 4 things I would say. And maybe it's 7 or is a little early for a person to absorb that. But certainly by 10, 11, 12, as you start to get into teens, I'd really emphasize the power of self-development. Get into reading self-development books. And and the challenge back then was I was learning disabled, still am. So reading was hard. But if I was able to go today, I can say, hey, get some Audible books, or go online and listen to podcasts or whatever. Just get that right stuff in your brain and reprogram. That's one thing. And also at some point want to teach and tell my younger self the power of networking and connecting, and your tribe is your vibe, and get around the right quality people and expand your network. And it's a cliche today, but your net worth is in direct proportion to your network, right? And why does LeBron James make have $1 billion lifetime contract? Because he's got 1 million followers. He's got a huge network, right? People know about him. So so I would definitely suggest that get a big network and just meet people and no agenda. And then the other one I would tell them is understand why you're doing it. Come up with your why and more. There's a little debate on this. I was on our show. We kind of debated a little bit about it, but the why can be something, in terms purpose driven or passion driven or, sort of something like that. But how about just how do you want to live, right? How do you want your life to be? And now you could choose a vehicle that's going to help you get to that lifestyle that you're looking for versus everybody wants to find a vehicle that they're going to be passionate about. But what if that's not possible? What if the passion is like doing missions work, but you don't want to do that as a career? So what if you had a job or career or business that generated enough money that you could do a lot of missions work? Does that still mean you're not missions or passion focused? You are, but the vehicle you're choosing is helping to support that. It's not doing that, but it's supporting that. So that was one thing I would definitely have taught my younger self. And then last is get a mentor. Oscar, you and I believe are the same age, but we're around the same age.
40.
Yeah, exactly. 40. And we remember the times where there was not such a thing as a GPS or Waze and it was a nightmare trying to get to different places. So I remember I was in outside business development. I was out driving in my car with a big Hangstrom map that was wide over the windshield, over the wheel, trying to drive while the map is out. And it was so stressful. But how cool is it to have a GPS to get us where we want to go? And don't forget, when in the GPS, it needs to know where you are right now, and it needs to know where you want to go. Know your why, right? Simon Sinek, start with the why. So GPS is great, but how about having somebody like that in your life, a mentor that can guide you, that could be that overwatch. Like you watch the special forces and the Navy SEALs, they have that eye in the sky to overwatch to see kind of what the pitfalls and having someone in your life, a mentor is so cool. It's crucial. It's key. And I didn't know that either. Right. And, you have people in your life, they kind of act to a degree as mentors, but then the other thing I would say is if you're going to choose a mentor, make sure they have the fruit on the tree, make sure they're in life where you are, where you want to go, not where you are, but where you want to go, right? They've accomplished some of the things you want to accomplish yourself. So I would make sure that you choose wisely in that perspective. So, but it would be crucial. So those four things I've learned is so important today. And I would have been, I don't regret anything, but I would be in a totally different place if I had heard those things way earlier in my life.
Yeah, I love the GPS. It's a great analogy, and I'm going to add a little bit to that because the GPS will get you from point A to point B without a distraction.
Mm-hmm.
And my good buddy Joe Pepper made an analogy because he met Armstrong, the
Lance Armstrong.
yes, no, the who's the guy that made it to the moon? Neil.
Oh, Neil! Wow.
And one of the things Neil said was like, we were heading to the moon and back. We were on our way to a moving object at 27,000 miles an hour. He said 90% of the time we were off course. The whole time there and back was a matter of recalibrating that course to make sure we hit our destination and didn't fly off into space and shrivel up. So yeah, you want a GPS, but know in the back of your mind. I love that cartoon, like the path to success. You see that line up that way. That's what we want. The real path, it stops here. There's a pit. There's alligators. There's fences and everything. It's like you said earlier. It's a way of getting over the hump, getting over the it's either. Was it Wayne Dyer said everything is either a stumbling block or a stepping stone. It's we get to choose whether or not something's good or bad. Yeah, it happens. And I learned something way back, which is, one phrase, which is, so what, now what?
Yeah.
Like I'm on my way to something. I'm really, really late. I get a flat tire. I could scream and yell. All right. So what? I got a flat tire. Now what? Now I got to change it quickly, get back on the road. So what? Now what? What's next? So
It's not
that,
what
that
happens to you, but it's how you react to it, right? That's
that,
the point of that. I like that. I'm gonna steal that, Oscar. That's so what now. Like,
absolutely. Listen, I do a lot of R&D, which is rob and duplicate. So I probably got it from someone else. Don't know who.
love that. I'm gonna steal that one too. I love it. I
I
love
got
it.
this. Got this on video. I'm waiting for the commissions to come in on that. Um, quick thing,
Yeah.
and besides your book, what are 3 books that really changed your life? That said, "Hey, I'm so glad I, picked this up."
Hmm. Well, the first one that comes to mind is How to Win Friends and Influence People. And I'll tell you a quick story with that one, right? Everything has a story. But so early on in my life, besides having no friends, I had zero people skills. I was the guy that if you said you should try this, Steve, I'd be like, no, you're wrong. Like straight up. Like not, well, I know how you feel, in your shoes, I might have felt that same way. Let me tell you what I found. No, you're wrong. We had the advertising company. We were starting to hire people, and I was totally pissing people off and alienating people with my really amazing people skills. And so my partner goes to me, he's like, Steve, I got good news. The company's going to send you to a Dale Carnegie course. I'm like, okay, great. That was his way of saying you got horrible people skills, but it was good. And I read the book, How to Win Friends, and also I think the other book was How to Stop Worrying and Start Living. But it was a great course, and a lot of stuff kind of just grew inside of me. And then eventually, when I was at a place where I was working at a very large marketing firm in Greenwich, and I had a team under me, I started to really see this stuff kind of coming out. I'm like, where did that come from? And I remembered it was from the book. But since then, with a mentor, he's like, he would be like pretty much, it seemed like it was yearly. He would like, hey, Steve, have you ever read the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People? I'm like, yeah, it's probably the 16th year you've suggested that. So I guess I need to read it again. So thank you. But that's a great book. And I've learned a lot on people skills. Classic, right? Think You Grow Rich. Big one, that's it's just thoughts or things. And, there's all sorts of stuff that you can get from that book. Mastermind and all. There's a lot of good stuff. And granted, it's an older book. It was written in, I think, I want to say the 30s. I can't remember, but it's stuff. But there's some stuff. It's a classic, and a lot of the books today are kind of spin-offs of that concept. And then the third book, I mean, I could go in a lot of different directions, but the one that's jumping out in my mind is the book, The Cash Flow Quadrant. That's a great book. Kiyosaki, everyone talks about Rich
Dad, Poor Dad. Yeah.
Rich Dad Poor. Was I saying Rich Dad Poor Dad before?
No.
Think You Grow Rich, right? Okay.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah, Rich Dad Poor Dad. But the sequel to that book is The Cash Flow Quadrant, and I really enjoy that book. I think it's a great book. Nothing wrong with the first book, but that other book, The Cash Flow, it gives it to me a more holistic understanding of how to make money, and it's not so focused on real estate, which is great. I mean, I speak to a lot of people about real estate. They can invest. How you doing so far? Well, I haven't done anything yet. Okay. What do you need for real estate? I need money. Okay. Interesting. Where are you going to get the money? I'm freaking working that out. Yeah. Yeah. So, but, and I did real estate for a while. I did I had the rental property. It was an interesting experience on number one, what they don't tell you in real estate is and this happened to me, one of our units that paid a big chunk of the mortgage went unrented for 9 months. They don't tell you that you still have to pay the mortgage when that happens, And when one of your tenants is really stupid and clogs up the toilet and the water overflows and it damages their apartment and the apartment below, that you have to pay for that. They don't really tell you all that stuff. And so it was not the best experience for me. So it sounds great. It's really, things like a really good idea. But so anyway, there's other ways you can
Looks
make
good
money.
on paper.
Yeah. You could create income in other ways. It doesn't have to be real estate. I know, everyone for a while was talking about Bitcoin until that was sort of had its moment. And then NFTs, I hear that's kind of had its moments, but there's other things you could do. Right. And that's why the power of having a mentor helps too, because they can help you sift out what makes sense and what doesn't make sense for you. But those are the three books. You know, and I just want to go back to what you were saying before on that GPS analogy, and there was it's interesting with, I find young people, they're so bent on wanting to, they say to me a lot of times when I ask them, you know, I like to ask almost everybody I have a connect call with, you know, what's your long-term vision? And a lot of times, especially with younger people, I'm like, well, you know, it's really hard to plan out because things change. And that reflects off of what you said about the road to success. And I, you know, I try to be, as now that I've learned to have some people skills,
Little
not
tact
in
there. Like,
the
what are you, stupid? No, we can't do that.
but I'm like, you need to know the overall vision of where you want to go and how you want your life to be. And I understand the path, the road is going to change. That's what you're speaking about. But it's like if our goal was to get to the top of a mountain, we might start up one path, but then there's a huge boulder in its way. You're going to have to go back down a little bit, go off to the right, and go back up a different way. But that doesn't change the goal, right? And yeah, I understand that you're concerned that things change. Fine. But as long as you have that vision, you could work towards that, and you take different angles to get there, right? Go around it, go under it, over it, etc.
Yeah,
Yep.
and absolutely, you know, again, make that goal a priority, and then everything that's in the way is like just another step to getting to that goal. But you don't change your goal because there's a boulder in the way. Like, oh, you know what, I'm going to go back down the hill and have a sandwich for the rest of my life. No, you know, you're basically, where are you going to be when you retire? What is your goal before then? All these steps, and kids don't have that. You know, I call them the microwave generation. Everything's got to be done in a minute. Everything, there's no long term. You know,
Yeah.
they need a crock pot mind, just slow and steady, and you get there. Let me see. So you've done that. You've written a book. You know, and you are a public speaker. So
I like to call myself an inspirational speaker. I know that there's motivational speakers out there, right? Well, thank you. Look at that. That's my website. So go to spiroglobal.com if you want to look into hiring me as a speaker. But yeah, it's been fun. I mean, I enjoy really telling my story, and it's been a lot of fun. You know, I've done a lot virtually throughout the pandemic. I've been on some TV shows, radio shows. I've been in front of, you know, thousands of people speaking. So it's been a blast. It's really been a blast. And again, not what I thought. You know, if I looked at my life as a kid, it's the last thing I thought about was, hey, I'm going to be a speaker. But here we are.
that is so cool. Besides your website, how do people reach you? How do they get in touch with you? Say, hey, you know, Steve, I bought the book. I'd like to talk to you more. I need you to help me, and maybe I have an event coming up, and I'd like you to speak. How would they reach out to you? What's the best?
Yeah, I appreciate that. So, you know, the overall easiest way to reach me, because everything goes to that, is stevespiro.com. And then there's a bunch of links from there. I'm a big LinkedIn guy, so go to LinkedIn, or even if you Google me, I'm pretty sure I come up right away. You know, just so I guess I've done a good job with SEO, but so stevespiro.com, go Google me, and it'll probably take you to my LinkedIn and connect with me there. Make sure you say you saw me and Oscar and Phil, Dr. Reed on the, you know, Focus on You on the Phoenix National Network, right? But make sure you mention that. But yeah, or if you want to hire me as a speaker, you can just go straight to that speaker website, which is spiro-global.com, and you'll find information about that on there. So, yep.
Cool. Last question, and I got this from a great show that I like. What is the impact you want to make on the world? What is your, like, Steve's gone, he's retired in Honolulu. What did he leave the world?
Well, I really believe that true success is how many people are better off because you're here. Either you are here or you were here, right? So if I could touch lives and make them better, and you know, that to me, you know, my wife and I, we don't have kids, So our legacy is the mentorship and the mindset that we live behind. So if you know, and I believe that we all have a candle, and if we light somebody else's candle with that light, we could brighten this world up, right? If everyone, you know, lights each one's candle, right? There's I saw it happen in it was a very touching, emotional experience. It was back before, I guess they got crazy about fire marshal stuff, but we were in a hotel conference room, very large room with, I don't know, it must have been 5,000 people. And they turned out all the lights. All you could see was the emergency exit signs, right? And then someone in the front of the stage lit one's candle, lit his candle, and then lit 2 or 3 people. And then they went out to the audience crowd. And by the time, I don't know, a couple of minutes later, the whole room was bright because everyone had the candle lit. And when you light somebody's candle, your candle doesn't go out, doesn't diminish your candle. It just lights theirs. So if we could all just be the light, which is my mission here, be the light, uplift, inspire somebody. Listen, you're not going to make your building bigger by tearing somebody's down. I know it may look like it's a bigger building, but let's just build people up. You know, rising tide raises all ships, right? If one rises, we all rise. And you know, let's have an abundance mindset versus a scarcity mindset. You know, if you and Phil, I know we both have shows, but if our shows, you know, your show grows, I believe it's going to benefit us too. It's not like, well, you know, I don't want their show to grow because then they'll take away from mine. No, it's not the way it works. It's abundance, right? There's plenty of good things out there. So wish good on others, be the light, uplift, inspire. Let's make sure this planet is better. I mean, you know, hearts and prayers go out to, and thoughts go out to, you know, the people of Israel. Crazy stuff going on across the Middle East. So listen, we want to be an inspiration. So that's what I would like to leave, is just let's be a light.
And you know, as our mutual friend Abi Gabor like to say, you know, live in abundance, not in scarcity. I love when he says that. Don't live in scarcity, live in abundance.
It's amazing. And he's, speaking of a great man, that is a great man right there, Abi Gabor, for sure.
Steve, it's been a pleasure to have you on.
Blessings been for me to be on with you guys. And I'm sorry if Dr. Phil is not on a lot. I know he's been fighting something, but appreciate both of you guys having me on, and it's been a real blessing.
Thank you.